did you manage to spray in Astra? Or did you get all that stuff done?
No, I'm not very tall. What? How tall do you think I am?
Well, I can reach it up if it. We're on.
Sorry. No, but you know.
Yeah. 07 Commanders, and welcome to Frameshift Live. We weren't doing anything there. I'm Arthur. Thank you for joining us. I'm joined by the wonderful Sally. Say hello, Sally.
Hello. Nice to see you again, guys.
How have you been?
Good.
So,
it's been a while.
It's been a while. In fact, we were talking about this.
Yeah.
This is our first in-person live duo stream.
Yeah. I mean, we know how well they went from home, don't we?
We're great at this. So we've streamed before together, but never in person. So this is our first one, chat. So 0701 in chat. If you first time joining us, this is Frameshift Live. So this is our bi-weekly show, 2 hours of funsies.
Yeah.
We're talking about all things Elite Dangerous. So we have some stuff to go through, some housekeeping at the start. We're talking about game news, sort of Galnet news. Then we've got some special guests today, which Sally has very, very kindly organised for us.
Yeah.
It's the audio team this week, isn't it?
It is the audio team. You'll be really pleased to know lots of audio team fans out there.
Yeah, the Sounding Elite is tier one. So if you have joined us the first time, welcome. A couple of things we're going to go through. I'm going to do my best Bruce impression. Now, I always give him a hard time about Twitch drops. Oh, Adam's laughing.
Oh, no.
I always give him a hard time about Twitch drops, and now I've got to do it. So if I get this wrong, chat, it's entirely Bruce's fault for not briefing me when he went away on holiday.
You only need to do it because I'm no better myself.
It's fine. So there are two sets of Twitch drops that are running. So one sort of holistic goes across all the year, which is our purple paint job set, which includes the engine trails, the skins, the weapon detailing, all that sort of good stuff. Face tattoos and nameplates. There's loads of stuff in there, so it's a welcome pack. Now that runs every single it runs for 28 days. It's running all year long. However, it has to restart at the end of every 28 days. So today is the last part of this cycle. Next show will start the cycle again. In order to obtain all of the purple paint jobs, tattoos, nameplates, all that good stuff, you need to watch a total of 180 minutes. So that's 3 hours in layman's terms. 120. Oh, so close, chat. 2 hours in layman's terms. Oh, that was close. Bruce, he's probably laughing in France, laughing.
If not, you know, like voodoo dolls. Every
he's
time Mark gets it wrong, he's like.
He's doing that thing out of it. Is it Bruce Almighty? He's like, making noises. So there's that one, and then obviously we have the Twitch drops that you earn just by watching our show, and we're moving on to our new Twitch drop today, isn't it? Now I've got to get this right. Midnight Summerberry. Is that right?
Blueberry.
Yeah. Father!
It's all right. It's okay.
So Midnight Summerberry is what we're having today, and it should be on screen now, I think.
You just said Summerberry again.
Did I? Blueberry. Midnight Blueberry. Summer. It's a thing. And it's on screen right now, above us. That is how you do Twitch drops. So it's actually a really nice one, and it looks great on the Diamondback. Yeah. It's got very Hawaiian shirt vibes, Sally. It's got pink enough for you. It's got a little bit of purple. Is that purple or pink? Purple.
I like the mango one.
The mango's your one. Okay, so you'll earn this for watching.
This one. Yeah, stick around because this one's nice.
Yeah, you don't have to watch long for this. I think it's is it 15 minutes to get this one. So everyone that tunes in should get this at some point during the show. Yeah. But yeah, there we go. So that's great. So question.
Do you want to say hello to some people?
I was literally about to say.
Oh, sorry.
No, don't apologise. Say 07 to people in the chat. So I see.
I'm really bad at this because it goes
really fast. So Commander Taz 101, Steel Carapace, Death Bunny, Commander Zulu Ballet, Drinky Bird, Zero Storm, Bogamus Prime, Sapio, Stormy UK, The Sonic.
Oh, sorry.
FAS. Oh wow. Commander.
I'm
Jet
actually
Reno,
holding it still off. Come on.
Zignot, you were not holding it still. How dare you? My eyes are old. My ears are blind. Right, so there we go. There's DJ Wiley, and there's loads in there. And we are seeing Twitch and we are seeing YouTube. So if you are in there, 07 Shadow Gaming, Fosdyke on YouTube, soon there. Mouth of the Winds there, Science Keeper.
Happy Moon Monkey, 07.
Hello. Welcome. 07, thank you very much for tuning in.
Awesome.
So I think that's kind of covered off the intro bit. I've tried to get across the Twitch drop stuff as fast as possible. Basically, make sure your accounts are linked. If any of our wonderful moderators are in the chat, they will be able to help you with linking to the store and stuff, and maybe the rules and stuff for your Twitch drops. But make sure your account's linked, and all that stuff will move across when you've earned it or rewarded it. You've got to claim it, etc., etc. Right. So that's kind of the show notes as such. We're going to move into some game news. So there's some hot topics. Sally, do you want to take the first one?
Yeah. Well, there's two.
There's two kind of like hand in hand.
Pretty hot topics. One first being the console profile copy process that we messaged out about. Oh my gosh, was that Friday?
Time has no meaning to me anymore, Sally. It's just a construct.
Yeah. And then of course there's access to 4.0, which we do still owe you follow-up comms on as to when to expect it this month. But we are still on track with the 4.0 versioning of Horizons and Odyssey this month.
Yes, so just to reiterate what Sally just said there, we're still on track, but we're in testing, and it is a very complicated process. The dev team are working really hard behind the scenes. Honestly, it's like if I had hair, I'd have pulled it all out by now, because there's so many nuances that they have to go through and make sure that it works. We have the console transfer process. You may have seen some players have been invited across to do some testing. We are testing that to make sure that it works correctly as intended, so it's definitely happening. We just want to make sure that if we do find any faults, we can address them, obviously, before we roll it out to the wider audience. So it's still coming, so we're still working on it, so it's as we intended. We just want to make sure we get it as right as possible. Yeah. And I'll always say this, Elite is such a vast game with so many moving parts. I'm sure there's going to be cases where something goes a little bit awry, but we'll fix it as fast as we possibly can.
Yeah. And you do have, maybe it's for our lovely mods that can help us out with this one, but the latest comms on the console profile copy can be found on the forums.
Yes.
And on the website.
So please have a read of it. We get asked a lot of questions, but please, what I would say to everybody is, I know people are asking questions online and stuff like that. We're trying to answer as quickly and as efficiently as possible. Please only not trust, but please only go to actually our forums or direct response from us for your answers, because things can get lost in translation. I want to make sure everyone understands what is going to happen, what isn't going to happen. So, and we'll cover some of that off today about some of the key points that people ask about fleet carriers, etc., and stuff like that, and arcs. And I just want to, we'll go through some of this today, but just want to make sure that you just use the official forums to make sure you get the right information and you're doing the right thing. So I don't want anyone to miss out or do something wrong, etc., etc., etc.
Yeah.
So it kind of dovetails into the next part, which is the sale.
It does, yeah. So as we said, as part of the update on the console profile copy process, your arcs are not going to transfer over. Well, not transfer. Sorry, copy across to your PC commander. So we thought to help you out a little bit.
Yeah, so
offer a sale.
Put a sale on.
Yeah.
So the thing to be clear on this is like just exactly what Sally said. And to be clear, once you do this copy process, your console commander is still available to you. It's not going anywhere. You can still play in console at the same time. So ARCs doesn't transfer across in the copy process. So anything you want to take on to the PC, so cosmetics does transfer. So if you want to buy stuff with your remaining ARCs, we recommend you do, obviously. Then now's the time to do it. We've whacked everything into this, or a good portion of them into the sale. I think there's 45% off ship kits, Raider, Kovas, Odyssey skins, 30% off paint jobs and weapon engineer colours. There's 20% off the hazard packs and Odyssey gear sets.
Yeah.
So there's quite a lot of stuff in the sale. That's obviously if you do want to buy some stuff. So make sure you do that. So that's the thing to remember. Your console commander will still be available for you to play. This is a copy going onto PC. With regards to your fleet carrier, that also does not copy across. So if you do want to purchase a fleet carrier on PC, you will need to decommission your fleet carrier on your console, obtain the money for the decommissioning, because that will transfer across to the balance and you can rebuy a fleet carrier when you get across to PC. That the two sticking points normally I think we're getting questions on.
No, that's right, mainly fleet carriers. And,
but yeah, so that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to get as many of you across as possible. So yeah, there we go. I think that kind of covers everything off. But the sales on, and even if you're not transferring across, there's some really cool stuff in the sale, so have a look, see.
And that is an extended length as well, so it runs until the 20th. Sorry, I don't know if you said that actually, but it was on the answer. But 20th September, so you've got plenty of time
to have a look, to have a look through.
Yeah.
Okay, what do we have next? So, as always, Sally has prepared, or actually Bruce has had his hand in some of the notes as well. Some show notes, and I will do my best, chat, to follow them. Before we go any further, though, we haven't really mentioned where we are, Sally. I mean, we've kind of changed.
Oh my god!
And if we don't mention this, producer Adam's going to get very upset, because this is actually really cool.
We're actually love him.
We're on a station. Can't give our location, but we got some plans.
We do have
some plans. Chat.
Honestly, I can't wait. Oof.
It's exciting. I think when we started this, and obviously with the help with Adam, we've constantly, when we said this right at the start, we were going to evolve this show as we moved on throughout the year. And this is another step towards what we really want to do going forwards. This is a really fun thing that you obviously can see. We're at Vista Genomics. We're just there. We were trading some plants prior to the didn't get much for them. Not going to lie.
Not happy with them?
Not happy with the trade.
No.
But so we've got some plans for this going forward, perhaps bringing some of what we're doing now, maybe the show into the live game. So maybe if you're in our group or maybe a particular location, you can visit us during the show as your character, give us a little emote in the background, etc., etc. I think that'd be quite fun.
We often get not told off, but we do say...
I get told off. You normally tell me off, Sally, as well, but this is fair.
But we get excited about things and we don't say what we're excited about all the time.
We don't. We don't.
But I mean, this one is a fun one.
This one is a fun one. This is stuff we can talk about because it's the show.
This is what we want to do, basically.
Yeah.
So we're aiming to do it, aren't we?
So we are into this. This is the first little test. So this is, I think this is actually live game. It's producer Adam's got a character. I won't tell you the name of his commander because it's horrific. But he's got a character. And I think your character is over my shoulder, right? He's there.
Is he allowed to?
I don't know. I don't know. Live, and if he moves, he gives the head shake. But that's producer Adam's character over this shoulder here. I cannot. There we go. So there we go.
You posted a little picture earlier on Twitter, didn't you?
I did, yes. Yeah. So there we go.
Actually,
we were having way too much fun.
Anyway,
Anyways, right. So we're going to move on to some more news now. So we've got some stuff for Galnet, I believe. Now, do you want to take this one at a time, or do you want me to start and then? Oh no, we've got more before that.
Oh no, of course.
Yeah.
That.
Yeah, that. Now you may have at the start of the stream noticed that Sally was holding what appeared to be hairspray, wasn't it, Sally?
It was hairspray. Because obviously.
Clearly wasn't mine. But around the galaxy, a number of starports have reported graffiti on surfaces, areas being defaced. I don't know if anyone in the chat has seen any of this happening. I believe we might have an example of this graffiti that someone is. Space Banksy's been around somewhere.
Yeah, Space Banksy.
Space Banksy is about. Interesting that these were found. They weren't found immediately, and I'm not sure if all of them.
I think it was the birds. That
might have been. I saw people asking if they were like. I think the first time it was reported, people were unsure if it was just like a Photoshop on an image, and then it was like, oh, hang on a minute, no, I'm seeing it too.
Yeah.
It's almost like, Sally, it's almost like things out there that we're just not telling players about, and they just have to find.
It might be.
It could be.
Could be.
But it's fun.
An extensive universe.
But it's really, really fun. So that's cool. So these are about in-game. Have you seen it, chat? Has anyone seen this graffiti? Do you have a particular favourite? I do like the Salvation Olives. Salvation Libs is my favourite.
Who was responsible for that? That was Zulu, Romeo, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was Romeo did that, yes.
Oh, dear.
Something about olives. And at first I didn't get it. Now I can't unsee it. Now I can't unsee it. But I didn't understand it when I first looked at it. I was like, what's it talking about? Salvation Olives, yeah.
Let's go, cat.
Someone's asked it, any more secrets you can hint at? No is the answer.
No,
I'm getting better.
Yeah.
I'm getting better.
Yeah.
The iron will of Sauron will come in and beat me. But no, there is lots of stuff that we're excited for, but no, we're not going to tell you about it because I think you're having way more fun finding out for yourselves. So we're just going to leave it as is, really, and let this whole thing play out for you because it's a fun time to be in Elite Dangerous. But yeah, so the graffiti is about, it's interesting what some of this graffiti is like, is pro Thargoid, some is saying that Salvation lives, but there's been an article that says that he's definitely dead. What does chat think? Chat, do you think Salvation's dead? Like proper dead? Like D-E-D dead?
Or is he Olives?
Or is he Olives? It sounds like a song. No, it's not a song.
Are we human
or Olives? Yeah. So, is he? No. Someone's saying no. He's not dead. Someone's definitely saying he's Olives.
Dead.
Salvation's not dead. A lot of people think he's not dead. Someone said there he's super dead. I mean,
it is Olives.
He is Olives. He's dead as a dodo. Not dead. Oh, it's a pretty even split, to be fair.
Yeah.
His death is greatly exaggerated. Oh, maybe he's not dead. Maybe he is dead. I mean, we can trust the news, right? Trust the news.
I did ask on social just to see whether anybody had an opinion on if he had a large.
I'd finish the sentence pretty quickly, Sally.
Don't look at me.
Yes, Sally. You
Life
asked on social.
insurance,
Oh,
life
right.
insurance.
Life insurance, of course. That's where you're going that one,
Payout.
Yeah.
Because you hear of that kind of thing. I don't know whether that's happening.
It would be one. It's a very exaggerate, it's sort of
Everyone's
extravagant
trying
way
to
to
make
get
credits.
an insurance claim, create a super weapon, and die in a fake blast just to claim some money.
On video.
On video, yeah. I mean,
No one would suspect it.
Sure, actually, that's the point. We haven't seen each other since the video was released.
No.
That was a hell of a day, really.
Yeah.
But it was great fun to see everyone react to that. Just whilst I've got some time on camera, I haven't been on stream for a little while. To everyone that was playing, it meant the world to me and the team to watch you all react to the cinematic and what's happening in game now. Seeing you all react to what's happening and the discoveries you're making means the world to my team. It means so much to the dev team. Because they're putting their heart and soul into this, and it really means the world when they see you react to this.
Yeah.
So please keep doing what you're doing. Keep sharing your whether it's being emotional, having fun, whatever it is you're doing. As long as you're having fun, it obviously means the world to us. But it was a busy day that day on the.
Has it stopped?
No, it hasn't. Not really. Hasn't really stopped.
No, but we love it. So
yeah, it's been a lot of fun. It's been a lot of fun. So okay, if you have any artwork, let us know in the chat what you've come across and where you come across it. It does appear to be, I don't know if it's random. Maybe it's appearing in certain places.
Well,
maybe it's not. Maybe you found all of it. Maybe you
varies.
haven't. But yeah, there we go. So there's some graffiti. So then I guess that moves into some news.
Galnet news.
Yeah.
Dun,
So
dun, dun, dun.
we'll do the headlines now. On this, Toko, so I do promise you, your stings will be used. I have them. Producer Adam has them, but we had a discussion literally before the show. And we want to make sure we put them in at the right time to give them the level of quality they deserve, because these are really fun and really great stings. So we will be using them. Haven't forgotten. I feel really bad, but it is entirely Bruce's fault. Right. So shall I take the first one? Mm-hmm. Okay. So on September, this is Galnet articles. So on September the 1st, if you missed any of this, the Empire shifts the anti-Xeno strategy. So Emperor Arisia, I can never say this, Deval, has made a public announcement for the first time since the Battle of HIP 22460. A name will be in my head forever now.
Yeah.
In an address before the Senate, which was to be broadcast on Imperial networks, she stated, our endeavour in the HIP 22460 system was a noble one, born from our duty to defend Imperial citizens against the Thargoid threat. We honour the crews of the INV Audacious Dream, the INV Illustrious Fortune, and the INV Paramount, as well as other auxiliaries and volunteers who fought against overwhelming odds. Their names will be remembered. So,
Love Arissa.
Arissa's
I'm a massive fan.
big fan.
Yes, because she gets in there, don't she?
She does what's got to be done.
I know, she really
There we go.
stands up, so.
All right. So, yeah, someone's put so many lives lost. I mean, that's 3 capital ships. I mean, the Audacious Dream was the flagship, actually, of the Imperial fleet. So,
Yeah.
well, a lot of people didn't make it out of HIP 22460. And a lot of commanders died there as well. I think we looked at the stats, and like 6,000 commanders died on the day of. There's a lot of deaths in that system on that day.
I'd like to know total rebuys.
There were a lot of money. A lot of insurance firms went bust that day, I would have thought. No, we were not ready for that. All right, Sally, do you want to take the next one?
Yeah, so September the 5th, experts speculate on Thargoid behaviour. The Thargoid's resistance to the Proteus wave in HIP 22460 has prompted discussion among academics in the field of xenology. Professor Seamus Madigan of Olympus Village University published a paper in the scientific journal The Empirical, which included this extract. The Thargoids' newly observed defence against a man-made superweapon and their subsequent aggression suggests a direct response to our tactics. Not only have they upgraded their technology, but also their behaviour has altered. Humanity is now a problem that must be dealt with. They did get more angry, didn't they?
They seem a little bit more tetchy, Sally. Yeah, they're not in the best of moods.
Yeah. That was, now when was that? A couple of weeks ago now, I think commanders were a little bit like, hey, what are you doing this far out? Why are you coming out? Why are you
so aggressive?
Why are you over here now? Why are you jumping in on me? And yeah, they are getting a little bit touchy.
I think, yeah, it's nice to see commanders noticing a definite shift in Thargoid behaviour.
Yeah.
I mean, if I was flying out there, I would definitely be close attention to that, making sure that I was aware of what they're doing and why they're doing it, because they're not particularly happy at the moment.
I'm still far too nervous to...
It's almost like someone tried to wipe them out again, and they've had enough. Almost.
It's like, come on.
Almost.
Well, whichever way.
Okay. Which takes us on to another news article. On the same day, September the 5th, an unexplained flare was detected in deep space. Reports from independent explorers indicate that an unusual visual phenomenon has appeared in deep space. A distant point of light, described as a reddish-orange flare with faint radial patterns, has been observed close to Barnard's Loop Nebula. It is thought to have appeared only recently. Universal Cartographics has confirmed that the location of this flare does not match any previously catalogued stellar body or star. Now, I believe from one of our intrepid explorers, there is a picture of this said image that's been. There we go. There it is.
It's Galnet.
Yeah, look at that. Look at that. It looks lovely. Looks.
It does, doesn't it?
So pretty.
Oh,
so that's what people are seeing, have seen. So interesting. Interesting. So there we go. But that was on the 5th of September. So chat. I don't know if you've had any theories on what you think this might be, or if you've seen this, or how did you see it? I mean, people have. There's various things we could talk about, but I don't want to get too much detail. You know.
We were up quite late that night.
We were up very late that night. Very, very late that night. So there we go. There's the image. I mean, there's plenty of these online. People have been doing some assessments and tracking it, trying to work out what it might be. Be interested to see what chat thinks it might be. Someone's saying it could be Guardian AI, so someone think it might be a planet.
Is it hungry?
Is it hungry? Does it even need to eat? Who knows? Maybe it's just an errant Catherine Will, just spiraling through space, just on a poetic journey of loneliness, spreading light and joy to those millions and millions of light years away. Maybe it's that. Let's hope,
right, that.
Someone's saying it's did it wake up something? The Proteus wave wake something up? A rip in space? It's the giant Galnet article. It's coming. It is.
It's like, you know, the bat signal.
Yeah, it is.
It basically comes on whenever
calling all
there's a new
reporters. It could be Space Father Christmas. They're just setting out on their journey now. Space is quite big. It's quite a lot, one place to traverse.
Yeah.
There we go. There's a lot of people just there having a look. So yeah, interesting times. Yeah. Very interesting times. All right, so that's the sort of we've covered some of the game news. We've covered some of the Galnet news. Just to recap, if you've just joined us, I'm Arthur. This is Sally. Welcome to Frameshift Live. This is our bi-weekly show, which we run on Twitch every 2 weeks. We'll be talking about all things in game. We have any game news we update you with. We have special guests. Some weeks we'll play some Elite Dangerous ourselves if there's something going on or we want to show off a particular feature. And we just have some funsies really, and just chat about stuff and chat to you guys. All right, so what's next on our list, Sally? We have
just a little push on the calendar, community calendar, really.
So we have the community calendar.
Yeah, we haven't. I don't think we've had any new submissions for only a little bit. I always say this wrong. Formandine. I look at it and I think formaldehyde, and I say it every time to myself.
I mean,
and I'm like, it's not that.
Well,
it's the Formandine Rift Expedition. It's still ongoing.
It's still ongoing.
I have actually forgotten when that ends. I think that's the 17th. Is there a little bit longer to go on that, actually? I might click it and find out.
Let's do it live. Let's see what's happening. We'll tell you now, chat. It is running until, where are we?
17th.
17th.
Bob on. Yeah. So, yeah. If anybody's got any more.
If you have an event running up, please feel free to submit to the calendar. And just an FYI, the team and I we're pretty stretched this week. We've got some people away on holidays, some people on other projects, which we can't talk about.
No.
And Sally and I have been very busy doing various different bits of us. So if we have missed coming back to you on some stuff, apologies, but we'll get back to business as usual.
Yeah.
You may or may not notice, but Elite Dangerous is pretty busy at the minute. There's some stuff going on, so apologies for that one.
It's quite a busy.
Okay, but if you do want to know more about the calendar, please put !calendar, and that should take you through to what you need to know. All right, here's the bit that we like, Sally.
Oh, yes, I do like this bit. Now, this is a special one because you all haven't seen. We are on Stellar Screenshots, right?
Yes, we are on Stellar Screenshots.
So you all haven't seen this week's winners of Stellar Screenshots. This will be the first time. So we're gonna show the winners for the first time ahead of social. Sorry, Paul.
Oh.
I think it's Paul's idea.
Oh, we're cycling
Spoilers,
through. Oh, wow. Adam's
Adam,
going
what are you
crazy. He's gone
doing?
rogue. He's gone rogue. What's happening? Oh, no, he's panicked. It's all over the show.
He's lost control.
Here we go. Oh,
bring it
and we're back. We're back.
Bring it
We're going to need to film now whilst Adam is, you know what he's doing over there.
This is what happens when we try to do something for the first time. Is he trying to get in on the shot again?
Just keep sneaking the hand in every now and again.
So,
You didn't give me any money for plants, so you're not coming on the show. It's as simple as that.
we're back.
We're back. There we go. As if nothing happened. There we go. And there's an audible sigh of relief there, chat. You can hear just
seen Adam on there.
There we go.
Oh, that's very funny. So yeah, as I say, this was Paul's idea. Why don't we premiere the winners?
Yeah, it's a nice idea. I like it.
On status.
I like it.
On like now. Oh, yes, good. I got distracted. The chat's not moving. Now it is. Thank you. Good.
There we go.
Let's go. So who is this?
So
one?
this is Commander. Well, I'll try and say the name correctly. This is Commander Dagri Tharn. This is a fleet carrier. I'm assuming they're fleet carrier because I can't see anybody in the captain's chair.
But what else can you see there?
Nothing else seems out of the ordinary in this picture to me, Sally. I'm not sure if there's anything there that we should be drawing our eyes to. They're looking at something in the distance. But yeah, there is. It's a nice composition. Lots of thoughts going on there. Imagine what's going through the mind of that. Here's a question. In these interesting times, say, would you rather be on a planet or on a fleet carrier or in your ship?
Ooh. Fleet carrier.
Yeah, see, I'm erring with fleet carrier. If it was me, you can run away.
Well, I was going to say my jump range is probably not adequate enough if I wanted to get away quickly. Whereas on a fleet carrier.
But then there is that wait time with the fleet carrier, right?
Ah, yeah.
You can't just jump.
Yeah.
So you can jump far, but you have to wait. And if there's a lot of fleet carriers wanting to jump, then you might be waiting a little while. And we experienced that before, didn't we, chat? When everyone was doing the jump for the first time and we had to mitigate all the jumps that were going on. But, alas, I like the idea in a fleet carrier. It just feels that you'd be safe. But you could always launch in your ship as well. Things got a little bit too dicey. You could always run to your ship to get in your ship and.
That's true. There's a bar. I haven't got a bar on board.
And there's a bar. There's a bar which has sold it to me. So yeah, fleet carrier is one for me.
Yeah.
So great shot. Thank you very much, Commander Dagari Tharn. I'm sorry if I'm getting your names wrong. I do apologise.
Slurred before.
Why is the ram gone? Commander Greybeard Seawolf, savvy. Right, so this is a great shot.
Hey, Greybeard.
I really love this shot. This is very cinematic. This almost, to quote another game franchise, that almost feels very Halo. The way he's sort of the pose, the gear set.
Literally, Joel B just said it looks like Halo.
Oh, there we go. Yeah, it's a really cool shot. Obviously, there's some spookiness in the background. That looks like the edge of a crate, though, on the side of the screen there, Sally. I think that might be just on the right hand side. That's definitely the ship, right? On the right hand side of the screen, see the green light on the end of the.
I think
that's the wing of a crate. I might be wrong.
Your
chat will
favourite
tell
ship,
me.
you'll know because.
Oh yeah, I mean it's burnt into my retinas.
Favourite ship.
Everywhere I go is a crate. Although I did watch an incredible video, one of the commanders took on, I think it was like 20 Thargoids in a chieftain solo and was winning. Unfortunately disconnected, but I think they got to like 17 kills.
Right.
Solo in a chieftain. In a chieftain, chat.
Trying to obviously prove a point now.
Chieftain. Greatest ship in the game.
No.
Certainly better than the old Cobra.
Right.
Shall we move on?
Is it?
There we go. And there we have, it's our very own Heather G.
Oh.
There we go. Awesome shot. And that's a crate.
That's great.
Another. But it's cool to see that. Obviously, there's a nebula in the sky. There's a galaxy in the sky. There's an Earth-like, or what is an Earth-like?
There's an Earth-like over there. Yeah.
In the sky, atmospheric planet.
Bunch of stars.
Nothing else to see in this picture though.
No.
Nothing else to see here. All good.
Yeah.
No impending doom. Sounds great.
No.
Looks good. Great shot. Thank you very much, Heather. That's another cool shot.
Speaking of impending doom.
I mean, why? This is a great shot though. This looks like they've just been EMP'd by the look of things. I don't see any thrusters on the engines.
Yeah.
Thargoid looks like it's coming in for an inspection, which could go one of two ways here. I'm looking badly from this from this
It only
image.
seems to go one way at the minute, doesn't it?
So I'm going to say this Commander live wire, right? Just way it's spelt.
Live way.
Yeah, so great shot, really spooky. I do like this. You can imagine someone inside the desk be sort of, I imagine like a car just trying.
No, it's like, do you know when we go out and
Yeah.
then you're like, no, I've got, because I'm in the camera.
Yeah, and you're like,
And
can you just
I'm
move
like,
left?
can
I can't,
you-
Tally,
no,
I've just been
no,
EMP'd.
literally
I can't go anywhere.
Like, oh, right.
Yeah, Thargoids coming into feast, yeah.
Yeah.
There we go, cool. And then next one we have,
Oh, I
there.
like this
Oh,
one.
this is nice. This is nice. This is an anaconda. This is really, really nice. Going through, is that a pink gas
What is
giant?
that paint job?
I think it's a hazard paint job. Is it a hazard
No.
paint job? It's not. No.
See, it.
I'm going to call it
Did we
the
have yellow
lemon.
dazzle ones?
I'm going to call it the
The
lemon.
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 I don't know what that is.
But that is the hazard kit on it, right?
Maybe it is then. Maybe I'm just. It's just very bright, but
Yeah,
it's lovely.
it's a nice picture.
Yeah, it's great.
I like the way everything's kind of, even the pink's kind of muted, but the yellow is really, really sharp.
This is what I was going to say. The contrast between the paint and the thrusters and the gas giant.
Yeah, and obviously a bit of mining, because if you look right at the bottom there, there's some limpets that appear to be doing
Oh, cute.
limpety things.
Yeah.
Out there doing limpety things. So
Yeah.
that's a nice shot. So thank you very much, Commander Mad Butters. This is so cool. I love this shot. That is definitely Thargoid wreckage, right? So that is a nebula, I would say a white star. But that is a dead Thargoid, I'm sure of it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think so. This
Yeah.
is like a wreck.
There's a wreck of a Thargoid. So
I like that. They remind me of Driftwood.
yeah.
And I remember, like, in 22460, the little areas where it's just wrecked.
Well, when we flew through all the wreckage and
it
stuff.
got my goosebumps, like they were just floating through, but it's like they're just like dead
Yeah,
wood,
it was
really.
it was definitely something
Really-
you could tell a battle had gone down there. It was really cool to fly through it
Yeah.
and sort of, but it is eerie when you sort of the wreckage kind of knocks off the hull of your ship and stuff like that.
know.
And then
That's
yeah,
great.
but great shot, Pariah de Vallis.
Oh,
Wow,
yeah,
wow, that is incredible.
Rose
Fine, come on, Rose Fine, what a shot! That is so cool.
little
It's like
Firefly.
yeah, I was gonna say like doing magic or like casting a spell, or that's a really cool shot. I don't have to say anything else to that chat.
which
Don't worry,
emote
really.
is this? Which emote?
I
have
think
they
it's
used
clapping.
to-
Clapping,
Oh,
right?
sure,
Do you reckon it's
yeah,
clapping?
yeah, of course.
It's got to be clapping. But just
Yeah.
well timed with the screenshot.
Yeah.
Really, really cool shot. Nice work. So yeah, it is very clever. This all seems fine.
This all seems.
Seems fine. We're in another Rufio. We're in another crate. Of course we are. But yes, this all seems totally okay. Nothing to see here. Just a standard cockpit shot. Do like it. Some interesting dash adornments there. I don't know what that bobble is. What is that bobble?
Is it a brain tree?
I think no. I don't think. I think it's like a.
No,
is it a snowflake or something? Maybe a snowflake.
Oh yeah,
Christmas
yeah.
one.
We got
It's a Christmas
no,
one.
yeah, that's right.
Bit early for that, isn't it, Rufio? I mean, we ain't even done Halloween yet.
No.
But he's got a tree up already. But you can't see, just off shot, there's a Christmas tree in the corner.
Yeah.
And he's got the eggnog on.
That would, wouldn't it?
Bit of Bing Crosby on the background. It's just flying around.
Forward to Christmas.
I love Christmas.
Yeah.
All right, sorry, lost in whimsical Christmas thoughts. So what's next? What's the next? We have two more. So here's next. This is a close-up shot of, I think, some commanders.
Stunning.
Yeah, would have seen Soldier Sailor. Some people may have got this close to Thargoids recently, actually. I mean, there's a lot of interaction with them at the moment.
Yeah.
But it's a really cool shot. I'm not that au fait with which type of Thargoid this is. I'm sure chat will tell me, but I'm also fairly confident. Shortly after this shot was taken, it was an angry Thargoid.
I love the details on these shots.
Yeah, it's a really, really cool shot. The scary kind, yeah. Hydra, someone saying, Hydra, question mark, Hydra, it's a Hydra. Yeah, so there you go, Hydra. It's a Mountain Dew. I don't think it's Mountain Dew. No, I think it's
colour
yeah. You can't see the Doritos, so it's definitely not Mountain Dew.
Fueled by Mountain Dew.
Fueled by Mountain Dew, yeah, possibly, yeah. A lot of E numbers. No wonder they're hyper. Right.
Prediction.
Hyper day. See what you did there.
Yeah.
Right, and our final, but by no means not least favourite.
Love this commander name. Did give me a little bit of a giggle.
Commander Strange Bloke.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, this is, fair enough, but do like this. I also like that this is what the community are now calling the grelic, the garlic relic. Garlic, yeah, because it goes green. So they sort of calling it. You not see that? They're calling it because it's going green. They're like, oh, it's a guardian relic.
That's
but
what
now
I thought.
it's going. Well, I thought that's why
it's
it's green. They were calling it the
no,
grelic.
it's gone to garlic. I can believe that.
I think I'm right in saying that.
I mean, if it went to
the grelic, yeah, I'm right.
Savlon, it's definitely going to go to
Daddy
garlic,
Savlon and now the grelic.
Daddy Savlon.
I know it makes me. Oh, it makes me. Oh, it makes me feel a little bit.
I do get a bit crazy.
Uneasy about that.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is cool. It's one of the things that commanders found earlier on, actually, shortly after the Battle of HIP 22460, that when they were adding Guardian relics to the Thargoid sites, that they were getting an unknown artifact was coming out. Who knows what these could be used for or what their purpose is, but it seems
at the minute they're getting their pockets lined by.
They are, yeah. There's a few engineers are paying a pretty penny for some of these things.
What's his name?
But who knows why or what they're going to be for? Who knows? But it's interesting stuff. Interesting stuff.
Yes.
Snakier 5114. So just to be clear, it's not 2 weeks for one paint job. You'll get one paint job for 15 minutes watching. That's the exclusive paint job. So I've got the name wrong. It's the Summer Midnight Berry. It's a Berry Berry's paint job.
It's not a Summer Berry.
It's the Great British Bake Off Merry Berry paint job, which is going to be on screen in a second when I throw my producer under the bus and say, can you put the paint job back on screen? If you watch for 15 minutes today, you will get this exclusive paint job, which is really, really cool. The rest of it runs all year long, but we are beholden to the rules of Twitch. So these campaigns that we're having, so for the purple paint jobs, the weapon detailing, the name plates, etc., we can only run a campaign for 28 days, and then it resets itself. That's not down to us. That's literally down how the mechanics of the Twitch drops works. So all you need to do is watch our shows over the month, of which there are 2. So there's 4 hours worth across a month, once every 2 weeks. You only watch for 2 hours in total over that month, and you'll earn everything within that package. I'm sure you'll get various bits at different increments of time. I think we've got it up here if you don't mind scrolling up, so just have a quick look. So what you will get if you watch for 15 minutes, you'll get the Ancestral Tattoo Pack. For 30 minutes, you get the Purple Flight Suit. For an hour, you'll get the Purple SRV and Fighter Colours. For 90 minutes, you'll get the Purple Weapon and Engine Colours. For 120 minutes, so 2 hours, that covers you for everything. So it isn't you have to watch for 2 weeks to get one paint job. You can watch for 15 minutes, you'll get an exclusive paint job, and then you'll also get an Ancestral Tattoo Pack. So it's quite a lot of stuff you'll get for watching. So please, 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 as always, like I said earlier on, when you want to know about like what stuff you actually do get, please just go to the official forum page and stuff to make sure you're getting the right news.
And we also had a question of how players can enter status screenshots.
Okay, and I just moved away from it, didn't I? So it's basically there's a thread on Facebook, I believe, which you can reply to, and tweet your image with the hashtag Stellar Screenshots. Our very own Paulius Maximus Decimus Meridius III will go through these said screenshots, and he will select what he believes is the sort of the short list, and then he'll pop them on there, and each of them will win. Each of the ones 10 selected. Yes, acid, shatter. There's another one. Sometimes we get it, and you'll get that added to your account. But yeah, Paul does like to go through the screenshots. He does like a bit of fire and death, so he's been well served the last few weeks as our Paul.
Yeah, he does.
Fire, death, mystery, and impending doom always get Paul's attention. Obviously, I go for like the beautiful landscapes and starscapes and stuff, and Sally's a big fan of all things pink. But Paul is the one that's going through the screenshots, so we tend to find death and destruction gets you a little bit further along.
Yes, and he does a cracking job, because I don't know how he manages to choose.
He does not. Right.
He does.
Okay, so we've covered through a lot of news today. Obviously, we talked about the access to 4.0. We talked about the console transfer portal is in testing, and it's still on target for when we want to get it across in early September. So that's all going well for us. We'll give you exact dates when we have them. We talked about the in-game news about Arissa DeVal doing Arissing. How do I say Arissa? Arissa. Yeah, I always say Arissing. Arissa DeVal.
You're mixing it with Ashley.
I know.
And Ashley, where is she?
So we're going through the game news and stuff like that. We have some very special guests on after a short break. But I'm not sure if they are. I can't see because the lights are just in my eyes, so I can't see anyone.
We're just waiting for another
one. Did I see legs appear? I'm not sure.
That's fine.
No, I didn't. So we've got some stuff to show you. But one thing that has been sort of through the news threads, through Stellar screenshots, is this mysterious,
bit of a running theme.
mysterious flare that's been seen, wherever it is. But we have a short video, and hopefully when we play this video, chat, when you come back seamlessly, our guests will have arrived. Now I'm fluffing this a little bit because I'm giving Adam as much time as possible because it's going to be very much like changing rooms. This is not a long video, and in this time, Adam's going to have to go, mic people up, make sure the mics are tested, get them seated, adjust the positioning, and then be in time for the end of the video. So Adam, I'm going to look at you and keep you ready to go, Adam. So enjoy this wonderful video about the thing that's keeping most commanders awake at night.
Galnet News Update, 31st of August, 3308. An unexpected high prediction in deep space has led to the discovery of a strange orange star that bears more than a passing resemblance to a Thargoid. The high prediction in the Uchor's Y-H C12-0 system caught the attention of Canon scientists because it's far from any previous high prediction. Thargoids intercepting ships far from their known territory is concerning for explorers who often travel with little or no protection from the aliens. However, far more interesting even than the high prediction was the strange orange light visible from systems in the region. It appears to be a slowly moving star with a number of spiral lines radiating out from its core. It's not clear what this star might be, but some have speculated that it might be some sort of new Thargoid superweapon or Death Star, making its way from the Cone sector to provide assistance to the Thargoids in HIP 22460. Perhaps the Thargoid equivalent of Salvation is plotting the downfall of humanity as we speak.
Ta-da! Welcome back. Welcome,
Hello.
welcome. We have been joined by one of our special guests. One has been interdicted mid-journey to the office, but welcome back to the show. Robin, I'm going to lean back because you're on. How long ago was it you were on? You were on with.
It was like 3 weeks ago, I think, or something like
That's
that.
right. It was which stream was it? It was the end of update 13.
It was, yeah.
stream.
Just
Yeah,
released.
because you came on with
Yeah.
Sam, didn't you? That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's correct. So welcome back. Thank you for coming back. I know you're
welcome.
really busy as well, so I appreciate that. Also, chat. We will have another guest arrive. They will very smoothly just sashay in next to Sally. I'm sure that will happen. There won't be any issues. But welcome back. So for the benefit of everybody else here who wasn't here last stream, can you tell us who you are and what do you do?
Hi, yeah, I'm Robin. I'm currently the lead audio designer of Elite. So yeah, I'm basically just driving the audio ship of the project now.
You make cool sounds. You help cool sounds in Elite Dangerous with the team, obviously. But
Yeah, we try to.
I think you do some really cool sounds. My interviewing skills. You do.
You do.
So we're going to have a brief chat to you about. We've got some questions to go through, and I know Sally's gone through some of this stuff with you prior to the stream. I will probably ask some questions because I'm that way inclined and just ask some fun stuff that I'm curious about how you do stuff behind the scenes or where your mind goes to get a sound, which I think really interests me. But Sally, do you want to take away the first one?
And also everyone that reviewed last time really enjoyed your giggle moment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So hopefully there's some examples that we're going to listen to that might have given you a giggle moment, who knows. But I found myself laughing at some things now. You know when you do something right? I know what you mean now.
Yeah.
Like when something really hits right and you're like, oh.
Yeah, your body just takes over and tells you that was it, like that was the right thing to do.
Yeah.
I think especially when you're searching for, I guess in your like a sound, and you don't know it till you know it, sort of thing. So it's like eureka moment, like that's the sound, and then you're like, I can relax, I found it.
Yeah, you can't always go into everything knowing exactly what you want to achieve or how you're going to achieve it. So a lot of the time it's like explorative, if that's the right word. And then eventually you just hit it and you go, that's it. Okay, I know what it needs to be now. I think some people have a better sense of just knowing exactly this is where I want to go. But other times it's completely an exploration.
Yeah, and like we're talking about like goosebumps moments and things, and that all like adds to the immersion. I think immersion is a huge thing in Elite, isn't it? And then finding how to get commanders immersed in their experience. I think audio plays, if not like the greatest part to some people. Like without the audio, your immersion is well, I think it just brings everything together, doesn't it? And basically,
I think for me, it's that part of it which I think is the puzzle you have to solve. It's the immersion side of it,
yeah.
but also the practicality of what that sound has to deliver. Because I remember you answered very kindly a question for me on another stream. It was about why does this sound so jarringly against everything else in the game? And you're like, because it has to serve a purpose.
Yeah.
Do you want to explain a little bit about how various sounds have that sort of purpose?
Yeah, I think a big part of audio in games, I think in every game, is sort of being the glue of the experience. So tying everything together, so tying different systems, because that's what it is, isn't it? It's hundreds of different systems working at the same time. And I think a big part of audio and also like lighting is to glue this together to make it one single experience for the player. So it's a cohesive one. And along with that, it's about sort of like UX, about informing the player of what they need to know or how they should feel at a certain moment in time. I think one of the really good strengths of Elite's soundscape, particularly with the music, is that it's all sort of driven by how we expect the player to be feeling at this point in time. And a lot of the Odyssey music system is built around that. It's not saying what do you need to know, therefore, there's enemies around the corner, there's XYZ. It's built around how are you feeling right now if you're the person. Are you on edge? Are you anxious? Are you relieved? It's all built around that, and I think, the Thargoids are like that as well, with not only the music but also the sound design. It's about, telling that emotional story for the player.
I think it's super effective, and I think what's interesting to say is like it's not telling the story. It's an emotional cue. It's like this is what the player should be experiencing at this moment in time, which is a really interesting way. Sorry, I cut you off, Sally.
No, I was going to say, you mentioned Thargoids. We are going to go a little bit into.
A little bit.
You sent over some examples that we can play later on. Vocalizations.
Yes.
Yes.
Oh gosh.
I heard some earlier and I was like, what on earth is that? Like hearing it out of the game is really weird. Like for me, it feels super, because obviously in the game you've got all this other sound happening.
Yeah.
Which is kind of, I'm going to ask you kind of an ad hoc question. How does that work? Because you'll hear the sound in isolation, right? So for argument's sake, you'll hear like, I don't know, a Thargoid, I want to say a scream for argument's sake. But and you'll hear that just in isolation, but then obviously it's layered, so the player will hear that on top of maybe the thrusters will be going, there might be music playing, they might be finding something else, the Kovacs might be speaking, and it kind of adds that. Do you have to like look at it from every perspective, or is it very much a case of, no, I think this sound will bleed through because this is that giggle moment, this is the right sound?
I think it depends. So one of the approaches that is often taken, depending on what it is designing with a capture of the game. So what you'll do is you'll play the game and then you'll record the footage of the game and then you'll import that into a DAW and then you'll do your sound design in that way. So you do already have a slight understanding of, that it will take up these frequencies or it will sit in this space. So some of that work is done, but it's always a process of, iteration of putting it in game and building upon it. It's not always possible to just say like, this is my sound, and it's going in, it's done, and it's perfect, because there's so many things that go into, making that sit well, of like distance, of just how much it spreads over distance, all these sorts of things.
Yeah.
So we've just.
So that is the silkiest arrival I've ever had on stream. It was just the silence, the slow slide, and you're here.
Hi.
Hello.
Hello.
Well, it's the first time we've actually met, I think. First time we've met in person, I think, ever. So lovely to meet you. Thank you so much for coming on.
The same. Hello.
Do you want to do intros? Because you guys.
Yeah, sure. Go ahead, Matt.
Okay.
Who are you? What do you do, Matt?
Okay. I'm in the audio department with Robin, and I've been at Frontier for 9 years
Come
now.
on over a little
Okay,
bit more,
I'll
just so we
slide
can
on
get you
over.
in
My
shot a bit
first,
better.
and I'll do the sensible thing and turn my phone off as well.
Good
because you don't
shout.
want to be having that on the stream. So joined Frontier for the first public test, I think it was, where we had the combat test. So I joined just around then, and it already sounded great then. I remember my first day, I came into the booth where Jim and Joe were, and they were doing a review. And they were like, do you want to play? And I was like, yeah, I want to play. Crashed into a meteor. 5 seconds, just straight up,
Nailed
boom,
it.
right in there. Sounded great.
I was just checking for sound.
Exactly.
Thank you for joining us. I know you're both super busy. So what are you doing currently at the moment at Frontier? So you're working on different projects now as well, aren't you? But you have a history of Elite, so we thought we'd bring you across, and you very kindly agreed.
Thank you.
Yeah. So what are your like fond memories of Elite when you've been, you know, we were just talking about giggle moments, Robin's giggle moments.
Do you have a giggle moment? Does it work the
definitely.
same for you? Is that how it works?
The pizza Coriolis.
Oh,
okay.
the
Do you remember Pizza
Coriolis made
Coriolis?
of pizza boxes.
Yes, that was so good.
We still have that, I
Tell me
think.
about
I don't
this.
know if that's
What
true.
is this?
So there's a giant, well, it's not the giant one that's up there at the moment, but there was a very big Coriolis made out of pizza boxes, and it was absolutely accurate, wasn't it?
Mm-hmm.
And I
Even had a
believe
little
that
slot
had,
in it.
yeah, I think it was Adam Woods and Eddie
Yes.
that had it last.
Yes, they were building that in the kitchen.
Yeah.
Wow.
That was amazing.
That's cool.
Well, I have to find a photo of that actually. Sure, I've got one.
That's cool. Also, I want to point out that having spoken to both of you now, how humble you guys are. Like immediately, like you're like, oh, it already sounded great. You guys are fantastic at what you do, but you're all so humble. Like, I just can't get over it. It's like, oh no, the game was fine. I was just there. I was just working.
You
on it.
have
Like,
so many fans.
Yeah,
Your
honestly,
team
you should be
is
so-
like
the people
the
love.
golden
Yeah.
theme of
Yeah.
Frontier.
Yeah, very humble. But thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Sorry about getting you hyper-addicted on the way over here.
Oh,
Thargoid's a little bit antsy at the minute, so apologies. But we have some questions.
Yeah.
And we've talked a little bit about sort of some of the work.
Immersion.
Immersion.
And the audio, you know, what makes Elite so immersive in the way that it sounds and how atmospherics. I think you know quite a bit about atmospherics, don't you? So
That is my favorite part of the game.
you tell
probably.
us more about
I think part of it is that we really wanted to emphasize this kind of lived-in universe because it's just more interesting when you can hear that the sound is produced by something mechanical. The ship itself creaks. All the panels, they sound like they're struggling.
Yeah.
They sound like they're being interacted with physically. So everything has a physical origin, like you're actually working with your ship. And from playing the game, how the ships control, how the game feels, it was just very obvious that everybody in the art team and the design team, they were all going for this like hands-on experience of flying a ship. So
yeah.
the audio just follows that. It follows a really good example.
And I can see GC Spitfire says glass breaks. For me.
Oh yeah.
With a canopy breach. Oh my days! Like you feel cold. Like when one of the first times that I heard that, and I was just like, you always feel like the pressure, and it's incredible.
As a question, do either one of you have? You might have been asked this before, and apologies if that's the case. But do you have a favourite sound?
Yeah, we asked that last time.
Is this the fleet carrier? Is it with my mind, or am I thinking somebody else?
So the favourite stuff that I worked on was doing the fleet carrier stuff. I just love that process because it's so like intricate storytelling of like exactly as Matthew says, like all the pipes above you, they're all creaking and groaning. Everything feels like super tactile. It doesn't feel like this like brand spanking new spaceship. It sounds like something that's been thrown around the galaxy like for years and shot at and stuff like that. But in terms of like the overall soundscape, my favorite is the Thargoid vocalizations, like for the Interceptor. I just think they're like chilling, and I think they're really original as well. And I don't know if I told this on the last stream, but I was having to test if something was working. So I spawned one in, and I wasn't sure if I had spawned it with AI, and then all of a sudden it woke up and it did its vocalization, and it actually scared me and sent like chills down my back and made me nervous in my house. Yeah.
Oh, they're definitely here.
Yeah, and it's actually really hard to do that. Like I play a lot of horror games, and you know that scared me a lot more than some of the other things I've played.
Yeah.
What about yourself, man? Do you have a favourite sound? If I had to narrow it down to one sound, what would it be for you?
Yeah, I'm just thinking we should have coordinated our search, shouldn't we?
I love it.
We're super
We
stereo.
didn't get the memo. We didn't get the memo.
I
It's
noticed that.
$19.99 on the store. So my favorite sound has to be probably the mail slot on a station, because I really love when Elite gets physical and this transition, and that is a favorite sound as well, when the canopy breaks. When it's one of the few times where we acknowledge that there's no sound in space. So whenever you're in your ship, the kind of lore is that the ship designs all the sound for you. It replicates it from what it sees outside, and it gives you an impression just for combat awareness.
I did not know that. That's cool. I did not realise that was the case.
Yeah,
but that's really cool. Yeah.
So that's why you're getting sound in your ship. And when the canopy breaks, it actually, you get that feeling of, oh, it's just my suit now.
Yeah.
And there's a little bit of air there, and there's a little bit of transmission through the ship hull, but it's all muffled. And then you come into the slot, and even if you have your canopy broken, all the sound comes back because there's air inside that space. It's just that bass you hear, and that kind of as you go through it, and it just opens up into this giant space. And I think Duncan worked on the slot, just did a fantastic job on that. And then Jim did all the interiors and the voices and everything with Joe. It's just such a beautiful
the
moment.
announcers and things inside the stations and
Yeah, I think one of my, and again, it does add to the tension of the game. Because one of the earliest games I ever played, I went out to visit. I think it was the Dr. Spock play, and then Nimoy Station, and I was bounty hunting, and I was doing really badly. I lost my weapons. I decided to ram a ship. I got the kill, broke my canopy. Sound went, and there was this race to get back to a station and dock in time. And then obviously you can hear all you got is your breath in the suit, and you're like, that tension is just incredible. Absolutely incredible.
There's this amazing video of somebody who's running out, and they have like 3 or 4 seconds left, and they're close to the pad, but they've run out of energy. Like their fuel is gone. Like, and then they decide to turn off their they go into
Flight assist off?
Yes, thank you. Why? That's a blank.
It's all right.
And it pushes it to the ground.
Wow.
And it's one of those beautiful moments that you wouldn't even think it would do that. That will work that way, but they're pushed to the ground, they land, and they're safe and sound. And it's just that emergence.
Like a synergy of all the things coming together, like sound, physics.
It was just such an amazing moment, yeah.
That's really cool. That's really cool. Sorry, Taylor, I hijacked for a question.
No, I'm getting all. No, I love
bumpy.
it. I was just going to say, like, that you can feel the passion from.
Yeah.
Like you know why you're so good at what you do, and like when you start talking about things, I'm getting all like goosebumpy because you're all like, oh. But it means a lot to everybody.
So we've got a few more questions. I don't know if you're going to prep for the next one. I have a sort of ad hoc question that I would kind of ask for both of you really, which is. When you're looking at a new sound or creating a new sound for something, where do you start? Is it a brief of like, here is the object or the station we want you to create a sound for, and do you then visualise what you believe it should sound like, or do you give a brief like, this is, I'll use the Thargoids because it's an easy example, like, here's the brief on the Thargoids, they should do X, Y, and Z, or is this kind of like, you look at the image and you're like, this is what I think they should sound like, and you start from there. I wouldn't even know where to start. Like, how does that iterative process begin?
I think it can be sort of like a visual thing, but it's also knowing a bit of context about the thing itself as well, like getting some background from like design and narrative about, what is this thing, like what if we were to go in the Thargoid example, like, what is this thing, what is it made of, where is it from, and then constructing it from that, because obviously the Thargoid composition is like very specific about what it's made of, stuff like that. So I think that really heavily informs that, and also just the narrative context of trying to tell the story of what this thing is, and then having the audio reflect that as well really helps.
But I think with the Thargoid in particular, I like the way that initially when we first encountered them, the sounds let you know that this was a mysterious thing. It wasn't necessarily dangerous, but it was like you're in a room with a bear, and it might look, it's big, and this thing probably is very dangerous, but it doesn't really get super aggressive until you make it aggressive, and then the audio changes again. But that initial sort of noise is, oh my god, there's something quite big here, and this could hurt me quite easily.
I think with that, it's the underlying theme of like the unknown, of what is this, where has it come from, what is it doing, and how is it moving? And I think like even the movement sound kind of represents that, of just we can't really comprehend how it's moving through space, and it's like creating this really scraping sound of just this sort of metallic timbre, and it all feeds into that story of just conveying it to the player.
So it take long from a new. So how would you say? Like if I said to you, new sound, give me a new sound. Like tomorrow, is it constrained by design? I guess. Oh, we need a sound for this by X date. But is it a long process? Or what's the fastest time you've gone? That's the moment. That's the sound.
Oh, it depends. I think. I think it depends if it really just clicks with you and you know exactly what you want to do and you have all the information. But sometimes it can be a real sort of stumbling process of trying new things, and just failure as well is a really important thing, of just trying out ideas and just knowing when they don't work and when they do work and then starting again. So yeah, it can really vary, I would say.
Okay. So do you have any questions, or am I?
No, I like your ad hoc.
Sorry.
No, they're good. Do you want anything to add anything to that, Matt?
Well, what's maybe fun for kind of a little bit technical about the Thargoids is that they always have a little bit more what we call reverb. So it's like an echo sound that you get in a room, and theirs is always a bit bigger than everything else. And it's a very subtle way that Joe, who designed them, used to make them big and large, because it's always like, but there's no mountains around. What is it echoing off of? But it just gives you that sense of how big they are. It's very subtle, but it works so well.
Yeah.
I think that's where you get really clever in your storytelling, because you feel it more than anything else. You feel the weight of them.
Yeah, it's really cool. It's almost like I'm going to say a very terrible analogy, but sometimes like when you see some horror movies, you never see the monster. You might hear it, or you get, but your mind does the rest of it. And I think that's where the audio, what you guys do, is so incredibly effective, is because you are building that emotional picture of what this thing is or could do without actually seeing any of it, like do anything in that instant, and it's instantaneous. Like your mind does that in a split second of hearing that noise. It immediately has built this picture of, oh my God, this thing is going to do X, Y, and Z, and I've not even seen it do a thing yet. I haven't seen it move. Sorry.
This is a little bit ad hoc actually, but I just noticed somebody mentioning sounds of boosts and things, and they're all different, aren't they? And like for me, obviously, as professionals, they wouldn't all be the same, but the weight of the ship and the design of the ship, that has, you have to think about that when designing things such as the sound of its boost or other elements of the ship sounds,
absolutely.
I guess. Right?
That's also one of the more fun things to add a sound for, because it's very characteristic.
Right.
I think when you asked earlier, how long does a sound take? With the ships, you could say that's one sound, but it's like all these sounds layered on top of each other. And that takes a good month at the very least to do, because it all has to be interactive. And you have to test it and test it again in all these different situations, just to is the feedback there? Is the ship sounding exactly right when you're in the blue zone, when it's most maneuverable? And the boosts are, that's for sound designers, that's the fun bit. That's where you can just really go to town and say, this is the character of the ship. And that's when people do things like they'll layer in like a sports car or a certain animal, or the little ding for your seatbelts when you boost.
That's cool. I didn't know that was in there. That's really, really cool.
It's also very specific to the type of manufacturers, right? Some are very luxurious, so all the sounds used are like glass and synthesizers and really kind of pristine sounds. Whereas the first ship you fly, it's all like rust and buckets all the way together.
There's so many people with their favourite boost sounds.
Fantastic.
I've seen like dolphin boost sound is funny. Orca boost sounding.
Arthur needs to fly more than his chieftain. No, I don't. The chieftain is the best ship in the game. That's it. Also, I did see some mention about the noise of the ships as well. You mentioned earlier on, they said they love the creaking of the type when they're out mining, and their big old clunky ship is just like creaking and sort of the warping of the metal plates as they're doing it just brings them into the universe where they are, the immersion part we talked about.
Dolphin boost sound. They love it.
Yeah.
I didn't know there was such a fan base for boost sounds, you know? Okay, so moving on a little bit so over the years, we have actually had the British Antarctic Survey, Nigel, I think his name was.
Yeah.
He has done some live streams in the past explaining about real-world sounds that actually are used in Elite. And we thought we were in no way at capacity to go into detail on the work of Nigel and the British Antarctic Survey, but we definitely do have historical videos on that. But the sounds of space found using the FSS. We do have some examples that you provided to us that maybe you can talk us through a little bit.
Yeah.
But yeah, for anybody who didn't know, we do use real space sounds
So what you're hearing is,
provided by the British Antarctic Survey folks. So how are we playing these, Adam, actually?
Here we go.
This might be like just the sound for you because I actually haven't got what's being played first. Hopefully you can hear that. There we go. So these are all collected. Are these in post? So if these that you've also worked on, as in these are like layered.
So
sounds.
so these are recorded from, I believe, Halley, which is up in Antarctica, I think.
Yeah.
And so what it is it's the frequencies and the vibrations that are received from space, and so they're sort of in a range of about, I think it's 100 hertz to about 10 kilohertz. And then what they've done is you can, receive them through the receiver, and then they're converted. And there's very specific names for each one, which I don't know off the top of my head. So there's
Why don't you know?
it's a science unto itself, I would say.
Yeah,
But
it's
there's
intense.
spherics and there's chorus and whistlers and all these sorts of things. And so these have been sort of edited a bit, I think, to remove some of the sort of the noise elements, because they're quite crackly and they're quite poppy, quite a noisy soundscape. So they have had a process done on them to separate the most usable bits out and then be able to incorporate them into the game.
Someone's just said I want to get into the game now and open the FSS.
Joe and Nigel did like this really great, really in-depth stream. It's about an hour and a half long.
We really should
Find a way to link that, I reckon.
Because I think that was 2018, possibly.
Yes. It was when the feature first came
I
out.
That is a
can't
while
believe
ago.
it was all.
Yeah.
But I think that was in 2018.
We can see the crackling is so nice for some reason. I just find these really eerie. I find this like the unknown of space, like what is creating this noise and stuff.
Yeah, I think some of them are really eerie, but some of them are like really cozy as well. And I think I was thinking about this on the way here, and I couldn't help but feel like sometimes the sounds that nature throws out are so much more like interesting and crazy than we can come up with. Because some of these, like the spherics, for example, is like when a lightning strike, it seeps out into the atmosphere and then it sort of gets pulled back in with the gravity of the planet, and then you just hear it, and then I think the chorus is from the what is it called, the magnetosphere of the sun, and so it's like you're just sort of hearing what it essentially causes the aurora as well.
Right.
It's like the same thing. And it's just the fact that when you construct them into sounds, they sound like this. It's just like, it's so much more extraordinary than I think if someone was to try and create the sound of what that would sound like. Of like, this is what a lightning sound sounds like.
Oh, yeah. I think you'd be able to dramatically tell the difference between like a man-made. Like, there's nothing more than a real.
Yeah, I mean, you can't. I think something original. I think you said it. It's like something like lightning, which is very visual, obviously.
Yeah.
But then to hear it, like to hear what that very visual thing sounds like, must be. I guess must be incredible for the first time when you hear it. I'd love to know what happened. The first person's thoughts when they heard the sounds of space for the first time.
I'm sure that was a giggle moment for them.
It was definitely a giggle moment.
I bet Nigel sits there giggling all the time.
Because they do stuff like the sounds of different planets now, don't they? Like you can hear like the storms over the various planets, and I think it's incredible.
One of my favourite things is David on Twitter. Like regularly when they post a new one, he'll share it.
And he shared something recently.
Yeah, he did. That's why I saw it.
Yeah.
But it's cool that these are in the game and players can use the FSS to scan and find them and then pick up on them.
Speaking of players finding sounds and so on, we do have you might enjoy this actually. There was a lovely little reaction from Super Chicken that I would love to play. This is how excited our players get
for the work
when they know there are sounds to listen to. If we can play that.
It has a sound. It has a sound.
Love it. I love that reaction because you just see it in his eyes. It's like, oh my gosh, there's something to listen to.
Yeah, it's I think it speaks of just the amount of detail that your teams go into and delivering this sort of the quality that you deliver as well. That it is a treat for players when they hear the stuff that you do, and that it does mean a huge amount to them because again, everything is part of telling a story. We've all just sort of discussed there. So, and their feelings when they hear it and listen to it helps us all set that tone, which is great. So, it's nice to see Super Chicken reacting to a certain sound, which we're not going to talk about.
No, he found the sound anyway,
Found some sort of
didn't he?
sound somewhere.
I don't know, just
Probably nothing to worry about. Don't worry about it. It's fine.
No, it's fine. But it's worth poking about.
Yeah, you
isn't
should
it, every
definitely
now
poke around a
and
little bit and have a little look.
Yeah. What else do we have? Cool. So
just to be clear, so that image there, Super Chicken was using the FSS himself to have a look around in space and stumbled across something and was intrigued, enamoured, happy, scared. Who knows? A range of emotions happened there. What I would suggest is that players should utilise that tool more.
Yeah, I think
to
so.
quote Obi-Wan Kenobi, your eyes can deceive you. Don't trust them. Perhaps use other senses. There are obviously there's lots of sounds in space to be discussed, but also there's stuff that you may not have even looked at in the FSS scanner that have sounds, and it's really worth having a look at because there's some really cool stuff in there, like to point your FSS scanner stuff you've seen visually, but never looked at in that way because you'll never look at it the same way again. In some ways, I am saying use the Force. Yes, that's exactly the sense I was asking you to use. The Force. That is in the game now. The Force. You have the Force.
Zulu says, "Can we feel and smell things? Give it time."
Give us time. Give us time.
We'll see what we can get in for the next update.
Lick emote is incoming. See now, this is why I can't talk. I know, right? I'm not sure there's many things in Elite I'd want to lick.
Nobody wants
that. This went very quickly.
Yeah, we've just discussed how much of a lived-in universe it is. I'm not sure I'm going to
licked-in universe.
Licked-in universe. That's the new one. It's Elite name is the licked-in universe.
I had a bit of a mind blank a minute ago, but it's back now. Super Chicken does also put things, and it's not the only one, over the years, not necessarily now, but looking at waveforms and analysing things. I think we did do something once where we put a little something in there, years ago now. But it's always fun to see how people want to try it out. You're too smart for your own good sometimes.
Yeah, I think seeing the reaction to the signal like that they've heard, I really think we need to sort of up our Easter egg conspiracy game now.
There's not a lot can get past
the analysis and like the passion that people went into just looking into these was like absolutely staggering, and it's just seeing just the passion and the interest is just so encouraging. I think it's probably the most encouraging thing about working on this project specifically is there is a group of people who love it so much, and that's probably like one of the most important things. I think for everyone it's super encouraging.
You can tell.
You have no idea what that comment has just done now. People are like, right, that's it now, there'll be something hidden in everything you do now. The door's open, the door sounds different, the door is talking to me. But yeah,
sorry.
I don't think Matt likes me very much, does he?
Oh.
It's just we've got a really picky producer. It's all close, like one big happy family. No, we're fine.
Adam's like, sit on top of each other now.
It wouldn't mind, but he's sat in all the space over there. Like,
we're all
like,
yeah, exactly.
He's over there, his feet up on the desk, with Marguerite in one hand. It's all right, a bit closer. But yeah,
a wedding photographer.
So that's cool. So yeah, no, it is really good that the stuff's out there for people to investigate, and they do. And I think we discussed it earlier on. I think before you guys joined us on stream, and I was like, the passion that showing those things that it has on development teams when they see that reaction it's really powerful because it does. I don't know how you guys feel when you work on something. You're so close to it, you don't often realise what you've created until you see how it affects somebody else, and you're like, oh yeah, I was a big or a small part of that, and that actually has a knock-on effect and energises you to then go back and be like, actually, I'm gonna, like you just said, right, okay, So you're doing this. I'm going to perhaps go and do something else now. But it's someone's offering to get you a pizza.
Pizza carry this part too.
Wow.
Yeah. Don't worry, we pick out.
I'm not going to say no, right?
If there's food, if food goes past in the chat, I spy it straight away. I'm like, oh, someone's offering food, are they? I'm like, straight on it.
Loads of messages here, and you pick out pizza.
Okay, so we've covered a few bits in there. I think it's really cool. As I said before, like there's a lot of cool stuff to be out and found in the Elite Dangerous galaxy, and obviously a lot of it is very visual, and you can see it. It's an incredibly stunning game. But I would equally say the sound effects that are in there. There's plenty to be discovered and have a look at, and just explore, like revisit places you already visited and listen to them. Like don't just look at them, listen to them. It's really, really cool. Really, really cool. Sorry, Sally, you're waiting. You're doing the shut up look. I'm shutting up now.
No, you're always.
I know. I ramble on. Chat always.
Helpful.
Chat always gives me a nudge. Say, "Oh, let the guest talk." So I'm going to shut up now, chat.
No, you're fine. Can we go back to Thargoids? I'm excited.
Yeah, you go back to Thargoids. I'm sure Chat would like to be interested in Thargoid. Thargoid pizza.
So, first of all, I can't help but say we do reference jazz instruments a lot now for a laugh.
Yeah. Maybe that was a mistake.
I don't know.
To bring it up.
I don't know.
No, it's great.
You brought up saxophones and oboes and wind instruments. I just see little Thargoids getting past like.
I like that the orchestra's grown as well. It's like 2 instruments now. It's like a whole
full
quartet.
Orchestra, brass bands, a lot.
Jazzgoids, I like it.
Jazzgoids, yeah.
Can you imagine a little pork pie hat on?
Scargoids. There we go. Look, here we go. Someone is going to make a video on this now, Robin. You realise that's going to happen now. They're going to cut.
Scargoids.
Stomping the legacy of Elite into the ground with puns.
No, it's fine.
No, you're breathing life into it with the puns. Keep them coming.
It'll be amazing.
So, yeah, can we delve a little bit further into Thargoid sounds? And we do have some example. How do you want us to play these? Is there any particular order? Like,
I would probably just go playing the final ones first, and then just stripping it back to.
Are they named? What are they named?
Producer Adam looks concerned now. He's like, which one's final?
Do you know what?
Didn't think that far ahead.
We might even have to wait.
Don't worry. If I'm on stream, you can guarantee something will go wrong because I haven't planned it properly. Well, this is my fault, everyone, so don't worry about that.
The thing is, though, if you're here, then you can just chat air.
I can chat air. I'm good at chatting air. Okay, so we're going to look at this. So we're going to go through the Thargoid sounds. I thought it was very interesting. I'm more interested in stuff like the stuff with the little seatbelt click. What other hidden sounds are there in the game that I probably hear all the time but don't recognise? Because I had no idea that was in there, and it's really cool. Like, I'm assuming it's like on the Mamba and stuff like that. Like when it hits like high speeds, then that seatbelt click is there. Is there anything else that you can think of that people may not realise that's where this sound comes from, or?
With some things, I'm not even sure if it's in the game anymore or if we've moved past it. But one of the very first Easter eggy things that we did, and I think I can talk about it now, is we had these satellites, and they would talk to you Morse code.
Oh, okay.
And they would basically communicate your ship and all sorts of things. And it was the earliest seed of all the kind of intrigue we did back in the time, going indeed into like sound files with hidden messages in it. But that was our first kind of.
How hard was it? Were you worried that it'd be too difficult? But then after like the first hour, you were like, no, it's not difficult enough.
There's 2 groups you always have to praise on the chat. Like for us, it's audio coders. Of course, the rest of the team, because they enable us, but it's the audio coders because you go to them with an idea and they come back and make it better.
Okay.
Which is brilliant. And QA, of course, because without them, we would be nowhere. They're the most organized, hardworking people there are. And they just always have our backs, and they're absolutely amazing. So, yeah, between those people, we managed to get it up and running within, I think, a week. And then the hard part is, what is it going to say? What are we going to have them say? Right, so they started out with just relaying your ship, but there were some that would point you in directions. Yeah. And that started the whole kind of, this is so far back, the whole kind of treasure hunt, and ultimately we were signs towards Thargoids and where to find them.
So I was a player at that time, and I remember this happening, and I've shared some of this with chat before. I was a player before I obviously joined here. And one of the reasons I wanted to join Frontier specifically was because I love Elite Dangerous. But I remember this whole thing. And I remember I wasn't smart enough to uncover all the stuff, but I was definitely in everywhere listening to smart people solve problems. And I was just along for the ride, which I think is the wonderful part about what you guys do, is you create something that, although yes, you know, you have to really delve into it and experience, but it's shared so quickly amongst our community that everyone still has that moment of, oh, this is what it means. This is like when something very recently happened. It literally, I was doing some work on something secret, TM, and then I happened to be watching a stream, and they picked up this secret thing or this thing, and it spread amongst the community within.
It's incredible.
Within I'd say like 20 minutes. It was everywhere.
But
it was everywhere.
The way that it spreads is amazing as well, because I don't think I've told anybody yet, but I was coming home on the train the other day, and one of the people working on the train noticed my Frontier T-shirt, and they were like saying about how much they love Elite, and then he was like, yeah, so I saw this thing in the sky, and everybody's talking about it on Reddit. He's like, what's the deal with that? I was like,
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Yeah, I can't. But going back to your earlier point about like small details and hidden things, it's not really an Easter egg or a hidden thing or something, but something that I've found, which I absolutely love, is if you go to some of the old Horizon planet ports, there's these big like biomes that look like the Eden Project, but they're on like a giant stand.
Yep.
And if you get really close to them, some of the sounds that they make of just sort of like popping and stuff like that, it's just like, it sounds like amazing. And I can say that because I didn't do it. It sounds amazing, but it's like you have to get so close to it to hear it and really just sort of intend to investigate that biome. But it's there, and it's really detailed, and just the creaks and the squeaks of just everything, like oil generators and oil drums. I love those things that just feel like you're walking around a real place.
It reminded me of one.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
There's one ship that will make you coffee when it sees a new contact on the radar.
What? Whoa, hang on. Hold the phone.
Absolutely.
What
There's
is
a
this?
little coffee machine
The
behind
crate
you.
has one, doesn't it?
Well, I'll let the chat decide which
Oh
ship
no,
this
no,
is.
this is the crate. Oh no.
Remember that?
Might be another ship, might be the crate.
So hang on, so it makes a coffee.
You have the sound very quietly. It makes the sound of a coffee for every new radar contact, and it's Duncan did that. And he thought that was really
that's
funny.
incredible.
And we were
I did not know that.
So good. Because of course you want a coffee when there's a new
Well,
ship.
what if you're in a conflict zone or something?
Well, you definitely need coffee.
More coffee. Wow, I didn't know. That's really cool.
I didn't know that either.
I
didn't
did not know that. Fair play. That's really, really cool.
I love
Okay, I know you've kind of got yourselves organised. I've got one more question. I wanted to ask when you guys were coming on. I know you do a lot of the Foley stuff, which is, and I'm going to get this wrong, where you sort of click things together and stuff. What is the weirdest thing? Don't mock me. All right, I'm not a sound person.
in the corner there.
Clink sounded good to me. I mean,
Yeah, I was like that. But, you know,
Sounds
smush. You know, you do stuff with things. What's the weirdest objects you've ever used to create a sound? And what was that sound, and what were the objects that you had to use? And it springs to mind, like that was just the weirdest, most bizarre thing, but it created this really cool sound.
I can just see James Stamp with his
he's
his
always
boxing gloves in the dirt.
He's always figuring stuff out.
It wasn't for Elite, but one of the things that really springs to my mind was just getting a old Red Bull can, and it had a little bit of water in the bottom, flicking it, and then you turn it, and it makes a really weird noise, like sort of like a whoop. Like that was really good. And the other one is just when you go into doing gore. Like when you see people doing gore, it's just like you go to a supermarket and you buy a load of vegetables, and then you just like completely destroy it.
You look really happy when you said that. I'm a bit worried.
I did, because when you said gore, your eyes went like
This is why I'm moving like this all the time.
Now I'm
It's
with
just-
you. I'll just
And it's like, get a bit closer. I don't think I want to, Adam. Cool. Okay, so go work yourself, mate. Anything springs to mind for you?
I'm really digging and to see what comes to mind, and
If it comes later on, it's fine. We can come back to it. But I mean,
we did use it's not a weird thing, but an old VHS recorder to record some sounds for the UI, and crumble up the tape and put it back in the recorder and play it back to get like that real analog feel.
see, how did you even begin to like? This is what I'm going to do.
It didn't quite work because it was a VHS recorder, but it had somehow a digital sound, so the sound just stopped when it. But it was a good idea.
We had fun doing it. We get to wreck a tape.
It was really fun. Trying to find a recorder in this building, and then a tape. I taped over something, so I hope it wasn't important.
So has Emma seen my wedding tape? No. Haven't seen that. Haven't seen that ever. burns it in a bin. Are we lined up for our sale? We are.
We can go with that.
I talked air then. I did
no, do
good
you know
air
what? This
talking.
is what you're useful for.
Thanks, Sally. That means a lot.
Salvoids.
What are those?
Robin. Right, let's play this vocalize. These are now I'm saying words as I'm an audio designer. Vocalizations.
Yeah.
If you get it wrong, you'll know because our producer will just laugh in your face. Don't worry about it. It's fine.
He's having a whale of a time over there, isn't he? It's like it's his birthday. Do you want to play the sound for him? Okay, that's sound number one. I feel like we're on a game show.
Yeah. Even that though, like I know we're like, but that is
Can we hear
immediately the hairs on the back of my neck are like, oh, danger.
What is this?
Really?
Can we
They're
do
just
one more
asking
time
for
on that?
peace.
Are they?
This is just a friendly request for peace. Stop shooting.
Let's go again. Okay, cool. So what's this? I knew that. What's this bad boy? I'm losing myself.
It's one of the vocalizations. I'd have to go into the project and see exactly what it is, but I think it's one of the generic vocalizations that it can make whilst it's going around.
Okay, and then what's the other one that we have linked to this? So
the other one, so the one linked to this example is basically as close as you can sort of recognize of the source material to it.
Okay, can we play that one, Adam? So this is related or linked. Oh!
So that's the bass clarinet take, which makes up the majority of the the composition of the vocalization. As you can see, it's had some adjustments done to like the pitching and stuff like that, but it's like you can hear this is the source of where this came from.
You can.
Yeah.
It's had some adjustments. That sounded quite fun. What you've done to it terrifies me.
See, I told you, they are fun creatures.
It had some adjustments.
Adam, play the one that's not had the adjustments again. Okay, no wait, that's the adjustments one.
Yeah.
Then play the other one. That's the third That's so cool.
I think that's just Steve just playing his bass clarinet, I believe.
Is it?
Yeah.
Don't forget Steve's neighbour, do you?
But it's still organic, right?
Yeah.
It's still
It's
a voice
amazing.
through an instrument, and then we do the process. So the origin of it is still something organic, not a synthesizer or a machine. And I think you can feel that.
Yeah.
Even in the
I was going to
processed
ask, was that like
version.
in your thought process, it can't use digital stuff to create this sound? It has to be like organically. It has to be the bass. This has to be organic.
I think we always have a story in our heads. Just like why does the ship have sound in an environment where there is no sound? Well, it's because there's it's awareness for the pilot.
Yeah.
The ship is generating that from visuals. So we tend to always have a visual story in our heads for what we want to do and what we want to achieve, and that means that certain sounds that we use, they come back at certain places, like the space honk that you do to kind of get a system. There's a sound in there that is repeated when you give in the data, when you sell the data. There's a similar sound there, and it's basically a way of telling to the player, without really forcing it, that
linked.
they're related.
Yeah.
Now, even though the money comes later, there's already like a sound link, and you do it often enough.
association.
And you know when you set flight assist off, the first thing I hear in my head is flight assist off, like, and the other sound that you get when you turn it back on. There's so many sounds that you can hear them. You say something and you hear exactly what it sounds like.
It's so cool to hear you say something because you don't realise a lot of this is like the long payoff of a sound that you put into the game because it's subconscious and it lives in the player's subconscious.
Yeah.
So like we were discussing earlier on, it's like when something is wrong and a sound comes out of nowhere, the player, the commander's immediately like, there's a problem because this sound, I don't hear it this often, which means that like the shields have gone down or whatever. It means, hang on, there is a definite problem here and I can be watching anything else, but I didn't realise just how intricate the links were. Like, that honking noise is linked into handing in the data.
I love that.
That's really cool.
We also
That
get
coffee
it in
machine
the
have blown my
Galaxy
mind
map.
today.
It's everywhere. Everything to do with travel, that sound is hidden in there. So on the Galaxy map, selecting, going between, it's the same
What
sound
is
is
the
hidden.
sound?
It's like this trilly, shimmering sound. It sounds a little bit like
find
space
it.
money, maybe.
I wonder if
Basically.
I wonder if it's like the fly in a room. Once you hear it, you won't be able to not hear it, sort of thing.
Probably.
I wonder if
But
it'd be like
that's-
that. Yeah.
I want to find
it's
it.
It's that whole thing of like creating a cohesive experience, isn't it? Because individually, all these things are different in the way that they work and where you do them, and when you do them. And I think all of that is to just interlinking everything, so it feels like a unified experience. And this, of course, this is linked to that because you feel it. That this is the same part of the same thing.
I'm honestly I'm a little bit blown away by some of this stuff, which is great. So I haven't guessed on like this because I'm like, as I genuinely as a player, and I guess it's testament. You don't realise this, but like I do understand. Like it's subconscious within me. Like I know these things are linked, but it's the little things that you've done that have made me understand that. Okay. My mind is I'm on edge. I need a crate to make me some coffee. Because I'm starting to feel it now.
Your favourite chip.
My favourite chip. I don't dislike the crate, it's just I keep seeing it everywhere.
We've got another Thargoid.
We have another Thargoid.
We
So
have one more, yeah.
Chat really like these really loud and randomly out of place.
Ooh.
So we could just blaze it.
Careful. So that's the in-game. I love it so much.
The Frontier Quartet will be available for most weddings and bar mitzvahs. They're quite cheap, actually. They've only just started off, so we have.
But what I really love about this is just the ability to see through that and know what you want to achieve out of it.
Yeah.
And just knowing like this will work for this, and just having a clear vision of where you want to go. I think it's like you can make, accidents along the way and all these sorts of things, but just the ability to just know there's something here and it is the source of where we want to go, and just committing to that. So one of the things we were talking about earlier is just like one of the hardest things sometimes is knowing when to trust your own like gut instinct or not. And I'm sure Matthew knows more about this, being on many more projects than myself, but like it's always a really difficult thing of just like you go, okay, I know what I want to do, this is the story, this is everything, and then probably about when it's too late to change, you go, was that the right decision to make? Oh dear. And then and sometimes it is.
I can understand that. I would say this: it's Elite. I think I have never heard anyone say bad about the sound in Elite.
No.
Like ever say anything bad about the sound in Elite Dangerous. So I guess you can get it wrong, but I've never seen a project where it has been so consistently praised about all the stuff you've done. And just sitting here chatting to you guys about, because I find this, I'm a fan as well as I work here, but I'm also a fan. So for me, I'm like, more input. I find it incredible that the amount of effort you've put into this project and are still putting into this project. So yeah, I mean, I guess it could go wrong, but so far it hasn't. I mean, I'm listening just to those two different Thargoids, and in my mind, as a player, I'm making up my own story behind those sounds. Like the first sound is kind of like not a warning, but it's very much like an announcement, like I'm here. And the second sound felt like it was a call. It was calling, but that's my mind is doing that, which is the beauty of that sound effect.
Right?
My body is telling me that thing is either talking to me or talking to something else. It's phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal.
Can we have another go on that last one, Adam?
Yeah, do it again. Do it again.
What instrument is that?
I think it's a bass clarinet. if I remember
Clarinet
right.
again, yeah.
It might also be good to add that's not somebody rocks up at the studio,
No, just
grabs the bass clarinet, oh, let's put some reverb on it, make better button, and it's all got done. That
No
took
way.
weeks and
Yeah.
weeks and weeks of
Right.
experimentation and trying things. Oh, this doesn't work. So I was down the corridor from Joe when he worked on these kind of things. I'm not 100% sure with the Thargoids, but other things. And you could just hear him work on it and just try it. And you were always thinking, this is not going to work. What are you trying to do? But he was always relentlessly looking for that perfect sound to describe to get the feel right. And I think
His giggle
that's
moment. He was waiting for his giggle moment, right? He was waiting for that moment to be like, that's the one.
Yeah,
That's the one.
Yeah, let's call it a giggle moment. That's now in the project.
Yeah.
That's absolutely it.
Yeah.
And you spend weeks on it, and then you find it, and then still they must have recorded hours of sounds and go, ooh, that's the one. Just like in Jurassic Park, that T-Rex roar, that was an elephant that made a sound, a juvenile elephant. They recorded it and never made that same sound again. So the whole T-Rex is basically 2 seconds
unique
of
moment.
sound.
Oh, that
And it's just
made me
being
go
there
funny.
at the right place.
Yeah.
that's what makes sound design. That makes our hairs rise.
Yeah, yeah.
And it's
That
like,
raw
oh,
sound. You will never make that sound again. Can you play the final one again? The final, like the done version, which then makes.
Yeah, I find that really eerie. That's a real like.
So good.
Sorry, okay, you were about to say
I was
something.
just going to say, you said about like it will never make that sound again. That's one of the things in game development, which is not the fun side of it, is making sure that you back up and you protect all of this stuff, because it's like it is a thing that can happen of just like you just have all this source material which is like perfect and you can't recreate, and then for whatever reason maybe a computer dies or maybe you accidentally delete something, you go, oh no, that's gone forever now. What do we do? So you've got to be really diligent in like saving all these things.
I hadn't even thought of that because like I've had it before where you're working through. I mean, we all work in development. Everyone loves a PowerPoint, and you'll be working through a PowerPoint, and something will crash with that, and it's upsetting because you do a lot of work. But I can go back and I can retype those words because I know what those words are. With sound, that is a unique moment in time that is now like you're not going to capture that again. Like you're just not. So like if you've lost that, you're going to have to either try your very best to recreate it, or that must be terrifying. I'd be on edge the entire time. Like I would not be upset.
yeah.
No.
One of the things I don't think we got it on here, but one thing I do want to talk about because I think it's one of the coolest things. It actually makes me sad. It's like the life cycle of the Thargoid. Obviously, we have the moment when they approach, and we have the various sounds when they're being aggressive, etc. But it's when they die.
Yeah.
For something that's been trying to kill me, quite aggressively trying to kill me for quite some time, and I feel sad. I feel like I've done something wrong. Like I've killed for me, it's like I've killed a great animal, and I shouldn't have done that. Like I have done something, and I shouldn't have done it.
An Ahab moment.
And then it's made better because I get 80 million credits, and I'm like, well, it was pretty bad, but now I've bought a new ship.
Yeah, I think part of that is linking it back to that unknown. Is that even though it's attacked you, you don't know exactly if that was the right thing to do in a way, because it is a very mournful death. It's very slow and it's very expressive. It all just feeds back into that sense of like the unknown. But one thing I did want to point out whilst I remember is that Matthew was talking about, trial and error, and Joe just going through all these things and trying it. Like, I wasn't joking when I said trying to find the source sounds of this. That project was about 4 hours long. Like, if you go from the start to the right, it was 4 hours long, and it's just like all these different things of just trying new things and just like, this is here, and I was like, it was massive.
I have some lovely memories when I was in production. When I was in production, I used to go and check in on Joe and some of the other team, and all of your rooms in the building, you're all on facing the outside with big windows in front of you all, and I would walk and look through the window because you'd need to see whether you all had your headphones on and the concentration on everybody. I just didn't want to go in, sometimes I'd go down. This sounds really creepy. I'm not a stalker. But sometimes I go down there.
Sounds like you're stalking.
And I just feel like, are they all right in there? Like, we never,
Are you doing okay?
we don't see you very often because you're always listening to stuff. But you just see them all just sat there with all of this equipment and their ear things on. Headphones, they're not ear things.
Ear things, yeah, the
Ear
ear
things,
things.
yes.
That's the technical term. Obviously, we're aware of the headphones.
I know. I might do it tomorrow.
Yeah, no, it's all right. Okay, we've played some sounds. I'm just conscious we're getting towards the end of the show, but I'm sure I've missed off any questions.
Are there any questions from chat?
There might be some questions from chat. We can maybe get through a few if we can.
I was going to say a couple, or we can recap the stream in a little hot
I
minute.
definitely will do a recap.
Yeah.
But I generally have enjoyed these chats. Like, it means the world to me as a player as well as obviously I work here. But obviously it's the first time meeting yourself. And obviously, I've been calling you Matt, and I apologise. I should have asked. Is that okay? I'm now like, I've just become super familiar. And he's like, who's this guy? I've just met him today. And obviously, yourself, Robert, just hearing the stories you tell about your creative process for me is like super energising. And as a player, like hearing these little, it's like, again, like using sounds to to look at things afresh. It sounds really weird. It's like I will now look at things in an entirely different way for the better. Like I will look at new things. Like I will get in a crate now. I will get in a crate just to hear this coffee machine do its thing.
Might not have been a crate.
It might not have been a crate. I'll go through it now.
You just have to get every ship in the game.
This is what we sound like.
Yeah, the question.
When we
Request for
start
coffee.
going, well, it should be this, and now we're getting the same treatment.
But it means as well, and it's great. But also one thing, and again, we've said it before, but it's like, I know Elite is a very visual, very immersive game, but don't forget your ears, and don't forget the tools that are out there to allow you to use your ears to find cool things, be it like stations, anomalies, all that sort of stuff. It's out there to be found, and the work that's been gone into this stuff is incredible. And like, just hearing stuff about there's noise in a biome that you wouldn't even, it's not directing you to go there. It's not, we're not telling you to specifically go and stand next to this biome, but if you go and stand next to it and listen for long enough, you'll hear some noises because the sound team have made the effort to put it in there. It's just, that stuff blows my mind. Sorry, so I was talking some air while you were going through some of the comments.
I like the air.
I know, it's what I'm good at, so I'm here for chat apparently. I'm here for the air. Not the hair, the air.
Do you know what? There are so many. Do either of you know where the origins of the honk came from, or is that's really far back, isn't it?
Matt might have a better idea than me.
Yeah, I think we're definitely inspired by Star Wars, their Attack of the Clones.
Oh, okay.
But also, I mean, that was 2015.
I was going to say, we're going back
so
a bit, aren't we?
every trailer had a honk in it. So Elite needed to have a honk as well. And it was that kind of thing.
Like the cinematic trailer honk sort of thing.
And it was that whole thing about like, hello, I'm here, right?
Yeah.
I'm here, and you wanted to feel the size of that space. So as the subtle thing it does is as you're holding the trigger or you're playing with mouse and keyboard or whatever, it's the whole ship actually mutes the ship very slowly towards when the honk happens. So everything is really quiet. So and you get that big sound, and it's that thing of being when you get really quiet and you reduce your volume, people start to listen. So that's why it sounds so big.
So clever.
I feel.
That's so This is the stuff. This is the stuff. It's like how I don't know if you. I mean, I guess you're experts in your job and you do this sort of stuff. But for me, that is so clever because you're right. The quieter you speak, the more people lean in to listen. Then you hit them with the. And that's a noise that I can hear now in my head. That's how iconic a noise is for me. I can hear that noise without hearing that noise. Like just by talking about it, I can hear the little trickle down, and then the. It's so cool.
Now, what is that? Is that there's a bit when you boost as well, where it almost feels like it reminds me of like a tide or a wave machine, where you sort of pull back and then you go, and sometimes you feel like you're sitting there and you're like, all right, now I'm getting into gear, and then and you get that just from the sound.
Yeah.
I feel it's like a woo and a.
I think what is really great about working on Elite is that a lot of the game itself actually allows for really great audio storytelling, because it's all part of like the weight and the flow of the gameplay of it. It's not just audio telling these stories, it's also the result of like, so many other like super passionate and dedicated designers and like, just everybody in general, to be honest. I wasn't going to go through every discipline of just saying, like when you boost, there's an initial slowdown, then you jet off. It's like, that empowers us in a way to do something, more and tell that story. And, without it, if you just pressed it and then you shot off, it's like, there's not as much room for audio to shine in that sense. So we kind of shine off of other people's great ideas as well, which is really great. And on our team, we have so many like incredibly passionate people. Like some of the discussions that we have, it's just like just so much dedication to just making it great. And even the biomes, it's like, that sound, is sort of empowered by the fact that somebody made that biome and detailed it and gave us the opportunity to really sell that. Because you can't just go to town on something as an audio designer, like sort of unilaterally. It's a collaborative result, essentially.
Yeah. I think it's incredible. I think it's often said that music is the soul of a film. I think sound is very much the soul of a game. Like you go into this game and it allows you to, like you said, it's the player's feeling in that moment, as opposed to you're not telling the story. It's the player's emotional state, which is just incredible.
I thought you were going to do a Raoul quote then.
No. The Book of Raoul has been closed for quite some time.
I just want to read this comment out from Northpin. Thank you guys. This is one of the most entertaining streams. Really fun to watch and hear. Keep up the exceptional work you're doing.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I mean, there's been loads of questions. I'm just conscious we've got 10 minutes left. But there's lots of questions about, I've seen questions about music, I've seen questions about dialogue, I've seen questions about Guardians. I would love to have you guys come back on at a later date
we
if
need
you were willing.
longer, don't we?
And we'll pick another subject if you're willing and if you have time, because I know you'll be all being kept busy on different projects. But I would very much like to. I enjoy these sort of chats, and I am super conscious that it comes at the cost of your time, and I really appreciate it. I know chat appreciate it. Can I have some 07s in the chat, please,
Yes.
for Maram, please? It means a world for us for you guys to come on. So thank you so much. Here we go.
Look at
load of
these.
07s will just come flying in now. There you go. Look, there we go.
Can we have the
Huge
sound effect
07.
for that as well?
What would the sound effect of
Everyone
What
would be a
it
honk.
be?
Oh, can you imagine that going off? The whole system just crashes down.
Yeah.
There you go. Amazing stuff. All right, look, I'm going to do a quick recap.
You've lost all the questions.
That's all the questions
Yeah,
on now.
that's it. That
I
was
realised
nice
my
one.
error the
Nice
moment
one.
I
Gone
said it,
forever.
but they
Good
are
work.
gone forever.
Good
But
work.
I'm sure we will come through these again. Okay, so just again, a quick thank you very much to you both for coming and joining us on today's live stream.
Thank you.
So obviously, just so if you've missed any of the main news, that we're looking at the moment, the big news for the game stuff at the moment is access to the 4.0 framework and obviously the console transfer. That's all on schedule. We're in testing phases for both. As long as that all goes ahead and we won't find anything nasty that's going to bite us on our bottoms, then we'll give you an exact date as soon as we have it. So we are aware it is in progress, so don't fret. It's happening. There's a sale on in the store at the moment. It will end September 20th. One of the things I was stressed to point out, if you are taking part in the
Not that store. Not that one.
if you are taking part in the console transfer process, one of the things that won't transfer over is your ARCs balance. So obviously that's because your commander remains on console, so you'll still be able to play on console. So if you do want to buy some items for PC, there's a lot of sale stuff on at the moment in the store. Have a look and spend some of your ARCs there and then. So that happened. We talked about some of the news in Galnet, so I forgot what it was called then for a little while. Lots to talk about what's the aftermath of HIP 22460. Obviously you can check out these articles in detail on the Galnet website. And also there's been lots of talk about some mysterious flare, something someone's seen. I don't know what they're talking about. I think it's all a load of baloney. Nothing to worry about. Don't worry about that sort of stuff. We had some set of screenshots that was great.
We did. They'll be shared on social after this.
And they'll be shared on social after this, and you'll get yourself a nice paint job for that. And then we were joined by the wonderful Matt and Robin to talk about audio in the game. Thank you so much for coming on. We will be back in 2 weeks' time with some more news. Keep your eyes, and more importantly, after today's stream, should be clear, keep your ears open in the galaxy of Elite Dangerous, because I'm sure there's stuff there you haven't seen or heard in this case that will be really interesting for you to listen for. As always, thank you to all our moderators that are in the chat. You're always the unsung heroes that I always often forget to mention, so I really do appreciate all your efforts. It means the world to Sally and I. Thank you to Paul, who's probably somewhere deep in the recesses of his
cave.
I was going to say cave, but it's more like his lair.
Dungeon.
His lair, where he'll be doing nefarious things. And we will probably see you all in 2 weeks' time. I don't think I've missed anything off, but we will be raiding someone after this. And when we do the raid, can we please, when we go in there, just give them all a hearty 07
Please,
and send some love to the person we're going to be raiding after this one. So we are 7 minutes early. Apologies. I'm trying to fill it with air.
No,
I know
but
people are waiting on drops. People are waiting
now.
on drops. I'm
No,
out of air.
it's
I'm
okay.
out of air.
The purple ones will carry
Purple
on.
ones
so
will be
okay.
resetting after this anyways, and then you only got to watch 15 minutes next one to get the exclusive Mary Berry special bake-off paint job, which I can't remember, but it looks really nice in the dime back. But you'll get that.
We'll leave it at that, shall we? Yeah.
Once again, guys, thank you so much for joining us. We will see you in 2 weeks' time. Sally, as always, thank you for being the hostess with the mostess.
Oh, no, you're welcome.
07 to you all. We'll see you soon.
07.